Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth here. So I just wanted to share some thoughts on this video in regards to several ways on how you can save human nature and cut your codependency on technology or artificial intelligence. So if you've watched any of my former videos, I have talked a lot about how we are in this moment of the artificial world versus the natural world, and the two are going head to head, and we're seeing that happen a lot now, not only from the vaccination standpoint, but just even with everything in general. In my last video, I talked about how to not consent to evil, and the thing is that your consent or your giving away of your personal power helps fuel these businesses or billionaires or these companies to grow. One thing that we have to understand is that money is energy, and where you send your money or where you send and cast your thoughts or certain actions help fuel and build up those certain companies and businesses. In today's world, because we have such a technological addiction, not only are people addicted to social media or the internet use, people are addicted to video games. The pornography addiction has been really high over the last 10 years, that they basically people have just numbed themselves out and have just handed over a lot of their personal power as well as their personal self-control to all of these artificial things that are meant to destroy us. And now that we're seeing a big shift in humanity with certain things, like with Bill Gates owning all of these farms and Jeff Bezos investing in farms and owns Whole Foods and owns the Washington Post. I live in Seattle, and people thought I've been crazy for a long time, because I'm like, when Jeff Bezos bought out Whole Foods and the Washington Post, I was like, wait a minute, this is starting to get too big. It's starting to become a behemoth. And I think actually the word behemoth is a demon, I think. Let's double check that later. But as I've lived in this city and I've seen the demographic change, but also the culture and lifestyle. I mean, this used to be a place filled with energy healers, yoga instructors, massage therapists, a lot of outdoor junkies. And it also had the other end, which was like the really smart, sophisticated people, the more intellectuals, because you had Boeing and Microsoft and Nordstrom here. But now when Amazon came over, it was almost like a big black cloud just came over the city, and it just started to destroy everything. They opened up grocery stores that are just all phone app based, so none of it supported human jobs. I've seen them destroy the architecture in the city as well as the culture in this city. You don't see Subarus driving anymore. Now all you see are BMWs and Mercedes and Teslas. So it's just a completely different group of people. The people who don't care about nature are the ones who've come in because they are tech dominant. So if you are a spiritual person, if you are on a path of personal growth and you really, really, really care about helping and saving humanity, this is a very big time to start channeling your own energy, but also your own financial resources to other things that support more of your local community. Technology today is a little bit of a necessary evil. It's like a lawyer. We have to use it, but the first thing to kind of save yourself is to learn how to have a practical or functional use with your technological devices versus the addiction part of it and the shortcuts. I use my phone pretty much for internet, texting, phone calls, pictures, videos, YouTube. I don't use Siri. I don't have any thumbprint things activated. I don't want any of that stuff on my phone. I don't want, the eye retina scan thing. I just want it, we have to have a computer in our pocket basically now. So there are ways to use it that you don't have to get addicted. You can turn push notifications off and certain things like that. Where technology has really come into play is that the whole point and the purpose of a lot of these things is to dumb us down and make us lazier. If you look at any form of the industrial revolutions, look at how farming has changed, where people actually once farmed the land and now it's pretty much machine. Now where they're going with Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos is that they want to take the people out of the farmland and just have drones and other machines start to farm the land. And for me, that gets really scary because once again, this is an anti-human movement or agenda. And where are these people going to work, or how are these people going to survive? So things like Alexa, that is basically another tool. People think it's so cool and progressive, but it's just a tool to dumb you down and make you lazier. Why can't you get up and turn your light switch on? Why can't you get up and type into YouTube, the type of music that you want to listen to? I've trained people from Amazon who work on the Alexa team, and they could not reveal a lot of information, but the only thing they could reveal was that Amazon was getting millions and millions and millions of hits of data a day because that device is constantly recording. If you look throughout human history, don't you think the KGB was doing something similar when they were hiding microphones in parks and kind of bugging people's places? Now people are willingly consenting to this. That's where the dumbing down of America has really gone against us big time, because these people don't think about these things. They think of it as a form of progress. They can't see that there's something sinister behind this plan. And a lot of the data that they're collecting is actually to use or to create artificial intelligent type of, not humans, but just robots with certain personalities. So for example, if I was talking about Reiki and drinking organic tea, they can completely know what type of consumer I am and what type of potential artificial intelligent thing that they can create from it. So if you want to save human nature, get a practical and functional use of your technology. Gain your independence back from being codependent and addicted to social media. Get detach your care from how many people like your crap online. This is where social media has really broken us down, is building up that narcissistic tendency, but just the need to find our self-worth by what other people think about us online. Another way, if you really want to start saving human nature or humanity, is to start eating more natural foods, specifically the stuff that is going into the ground. What is going on today is that there is so much gene editing. I suggest looking at the Council for Food Safety. They talk a lot about gene editing on animals, but also this whole realm, talked about it in another video, of these Beyond Burgers and Impossible Burgers, where Moderna, as well as Bill Gates, are invested into these products. They are 3D printing meat, but also gene editing certain vegan meats, okay? I live in Seattle, so Field Roast was once a local Seattle-owned company, and it was sold off to, I can't remember who. Daiya Cheese, the vegan cheese that's based up in Vancouver, they've been sold to a Japanese pharmaceutical company. There's another company that's actually was bought out to Tyson, and I almost think it's the corn chicken, vegan chicken. So anywho, pretty much any of that vegan processed meat and cheese stuff, unless you're making it at home through your own gluten powder or I'm blanking out here, the wheat gluten, there we go, or you're making your own cheeses through the cashew cheese, you can visit my blog below where I have tons and tons of recipes. Like 95% of it is pretty much whole food based. That's a little bit different, but we really have to start connecting to things that are going into the ground. And the shape shifting of humanity is a little tricky right now, because if we do have a battle between natural seeds and then GMO seeds, let's see who wins that battle, but you have to support that. So, to further save human nature is to start to funnel money into your own local communities, your local either PCCs, your farmers markets, whatever it is. Throughout this pandemic, I found a great love in the summertime to go to these U-pick farms and vegetables. It was a great way to get outside, kind of connect to the earth, and support a local farm. I don't know, some of them are organic, some of them aren't, but the prices that you get are on par, if not cheaper or better and better quality than the stuff that you get in the store. And that goes into the next step, that you can start to learn to grow your own food. I live in an apartment, so, it's like at least you could have a windowsill plant, or if you have a balcony, you can do potted plants, a little patio, you could do those type of potted plants, whether it's just fresh herbs or even something like tomatoes and such like that. I do believe deep down the old 1970 hippie, where they kind of rebelled against humanity and, moved out west to grow that organic farm and live in this little tiny hut thing. I'm not saying that is necessarily the future, it kind of is, but that was like the real rebellious movement against a lot of the establishment. It's like, hey, I'm sick of getting poisoned. You saw all that stuff come out in the 80s, like the aspartame and the diet sodas and all of that. So people were genuinely starting to rebel, and these 1970 hippies were eating avocado toast back then. That wasn't something created by a millennial. It's been happening for a long time. If you want to start saving human nature, you will start to get healthier. You will start to gain more of your own power and your own solidarity and independence. And that also includes disconnecting yourself off of any medication. Some medication is necessary and some of it does play an important role, but a lot of lifestyle medications, such as blood pressure medicine, that can be changed through the change of your own lifestyle. Many years ago, I saw this article written about a weight loss pill, and it was using the derivatives from the skin of white potatoes, because potatoes actually have a property in it that contributes to weight loss. And I started laughing, and I put my head against my hand, and I'm like, oh my God, these people, because there's such a stigma in America over white potatoes because of the starch, but we have a fried potato obsession. Potatoes in other cultures, in India, in Europe, in Ireland, they've nourished people for thousands and thousands of years, and they boil or put those potato in a pot, maybe they pan fry it. They eat it a lot healthier here than sticking, strips of a potato into the deep fryer. So all of these things tie together. One thing about getting off meds is that the healthier you are, the healthier the planet is. I'm going to do a separate video on this, but in Seattle a few years ago, they were showing that the salmon had traces of cocaine in it, as well as the seals had asthma and high amounts of antidepressants into its body. So how the hell does that happen? Because a salmon isn't blowing coke, you know what I mean? It actually, a lot of people don't realize what you consume comes out through your urine and your fecal, out through your waste, specifically your urine. So when you're peeing that or defecating that into the toilet, and it goes into the sewer system, and then it goes into the river streams or into the ocean or into the Puget Sound or wherever, this stuff contaminates the water, and it will contaminate the lifestyle. So when you look at my former video of how to not consent to evil, it's so absolutely clear that the path is finding your own independence and finding your own, being just healthy, having independent health. It supports you, it supports nature, it's the most green way of living, and it doesn't consent to the bullshit of McDonald's deep frying, having 39 ingredients into their French fries, because to keep it white and crispy, they have to dip it into so many chemicals. And it doesn't consent to Monsanto, who's selling genetically engineered corn and wheat to make bugles. Fuck your bugles. Life right now is on such a precipice of where we can go in one direction or the other, that humanity is way bigger than your personal satisfaction from some salty little bugles. And bugles, they do, on the back, it says genetically engineered. Okay, so where do you want to go? It's sad and unfortunate that in this country, the organic and the health movement is a lot more expensive than in other countries. However, all of this is changing. Europe has slowly becoming a fast food, processed food nation. When I lived in Germany in 2014, there was really not a whole ton of international, American food. I only saw one thing in the store, I think it was Oreos. And there just wasn't a ton of like overly processed stuff. And then at the end of when I was leaving in December of 2015, there was more. And every year I went back in 2016 and 17 and 18. One year I went to Germany 3 times and I could not believe it. There were people walking down the street with Capri Suns in each hand. Empty Capri Suns dumped onto the ground. The obesity rates increased. I just couldn't believe it, because these were the people that were living this healthy lifestyle, but everything that America does is so cool and hip to them that they follow this trend. And it's a very evil and nasty trend of getting your health shot down a toilet, getting morbidly obese, and losing your personal control and your power. Being independent, there is too much of an individualized lifestyle right now, but being independently healthy and free from any of that stuff, from meds, free from any addiction, from Cheetos. Everybody today has a little bit of a junk food palate, and we all emotionally eat on some level, but it's having a practical functional use, or eating something like a treat rather than eating something on a kind of codependent basis where it's numbing out your emotions, because it's all psychological. The morbid obesity group that I used to work with many years ago, their problems were all psychological. All of that binge eating, or eating at 3 a.m, waking up and going to the kitchen, it was all psychological, that roots to some sort of disorder or dis-ease in the body, the mind, or the soul. And it fuels the dopamine and all that, fun little chemical, healthy hormone stuff through the eating and the satiation of those foods. So those are the moments that they actually felt good in life, but in other parts of their life, they didn't feel good. And it required a lot of healing and a lot of mental training. So I would recommend throwing your Alexa in the trash and giving Jeff Bezos a big finger. And we're almost at a time where it's like you just have to rip these guys a new a-hole, because the amount of crap that they have done and taking control of everything, it's just getting too much. How many times in human history have we had these massive empires like the Roman Empire or the Nazis, and people just thought, well, it's okay because they just keep getting bigger and bigger. But the truth of the matter is, all of these evil, large empires eventually will fail. The Roman Empire was the biggest empire that's ever lived on this planet, and it has failed. But they also convinced people to murder and kill the number one healer on the planet, which was Jesus. So that's where the scary part of all this is today. So not giving your consent, which is pretty much through like your thoughts, your actions, and even your money. Screw your free shipping on Amazon. I don't shop on Amazon because I deeply dislike that company. But I've also been a trainer for a lot of the people that work there, and I've never been so disrespected in my life that people from Starbucks or Gates or from Microsoft or from Boeing were much more respectful. And so it's that ripple effect. You look through my search history, I've talked about the ripple effect. How do you want to go through life? Those people had a ripple effect by spending 40 to 80 hours a week at work. They were instilled in a psychopathic culture that instills fear that you are replaceable, everything negative. And that ripple effect treated other people like garbage and crap. Myself, a janitor that worked in my building, she was cleaning the bathroom and somebody went and washed their hands and threw the paper towel on the ground. She goes, excuse me, the trash bin's right there. Do you mind putting that in the trash? And the person looked at her and said, that's what you're here for, and walked out. It's a disgusting, disgusting culture, and you do not want to support that, and we do not want that to spread on the mainstream. But that's insider information from working in the city where the foundations of this is. So those are the ways that you can, start to save your human nature, is by funneling money into the more natural food, but specifically more in your own local economy if you can, or just getting things to the root of the source as much as possible. All right. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Would love to hear your thoughts. Have a great rest of your day and see you next time. Bye-bye.